it's best they just do stuff that they know can bring in more money. Like anytime your money is leaving your account, it should go into something that you know will bring the money back and probably with some profit, whether it's business or whether you have other investments elsewhere. Because initially also that's what we were told, like with the whole trading thing, even the people that taught us, they didn't say this is something that they see themselves doing as a lifelong thing. This was just a stepping stone to, start your businesses or get capital to do what you initially wanted to do.
What's up, traders? Welcome to another episode of Traders Network. I'm your host, Main One. Today I have one of the biggest names in the industry of Namibian trading, the CEO of Simple Investment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Tangi Nakala.
How are you?
So first thing first, man. Just here to talk about your journey, give wisdom to the newbies. First of all, you just give us a real quick cap about who Tangi Nakala is. When you hear Tangi Nakala, before the charts and all that.
Yeah, so I just answered the question, right?
Yes, sir.
Look, man, honestly, I don't think there's that much to me. Just a normal person. But when you ask a question like that, it's a very vague question. So
Yeah.
if I had to tell you all about myself, we'll probably be sitting here for a long time. So maybe if you can be a bit specific, what exactly you want to know about me, and I don't mind telling you.
Okay, let's say who was Tangi Nakala before the charts?
Before the charts, I would say I was focused on school, like I assumed everyone else my age would be. Unfortunately, I did fail my grade 12, so I had to go upgrade my points at the college. Around that time is when I actually got into trading. So when I heard of it. And so as I was upgrading, I would say I also did what any other person my age would do at the time. You're done with school and you don't just want to be home. So I worked a few odd jobs, a few holiday jobs. I think the first one was a waiter. I ended up getting a new one. Later I was a shoe sales rep. It's just a fancy name for I was selling shoes at Techie Town. And that was pretty much it. I didn't really have much going on before that. So it was just school and working odd jobs.
And how did you came across Forex?
Initially, I believe it was through social media posts. I saw some posts on social media. I think it was guys from SA. They were driving these really nice cars that were gold plated, and some were chrome plated. They were shiny cars, silver cars. So I think that's what kind of drew me to it. And I looked into what these guys do, and there's apparently this thing called Forex. That's how I initially came to know about it. Yeah, and I started. I took time to actually look into it and see how it works, and started watching all these YouTube videos and all of that. And back then, getting classes was not as easy as it is today, because back then it was only a handful of people that you could say that looked like they were doing good for themselves in the industry. So. And those handful of people, if you approach them for classes, they were asking absurd amounts. Like I remember 18,000, 12,000, those kind of amounts, man. So to get classes back then, and 12,000 at that time there was no ways you were going to get classes, especially 12,000 at that age, at that time. Where would you get it from? So yeah, so I had to kind of be self-taught at first.
And that throughout the line, or you just continue building on your momentum, your skills and strategies?
I planned myself to raise funds to be able to afford going to one of these guys, because I remember they are from SA, but what they would do is sometimes they would have classes that they are hosting here in Namibia. So they would come to Namibia, have a specific date set out for people to attend. And I remember how we came up with the money. It was with a cousin of mine, but he's from a better off background. So that money is money he would ask his parents and they would give it to him. And yeah, he went to the classes, and I remember he had classes. They said a back office online that you can log into and have, watch a recap of those classes. So he attended the classes, and I also added an amount. I remember, if I remember correctly, it was a long time ago, so I don't remember the amount to be specific, but we added money together. He had the majority of it, but he got logins. I remember going on to the back office, and from there is where I actually I would say it was credible information that helped me a lot on how to, or it helped me understand movements of the market and how to trade and all those kind of stuff. Yeah.
You got a little bit of information, right?
Yes.
How did you take it from there? And were you trading currencies? You taking all the time?
Yeah, at the time we were advised to just stick to trading currency pairs. So for stuff like Euro USD, GBP USD. At the time, trading gold or trading indices was something convenient. And if I remember correctly, little knowledge that I got, mostly what I took from it was just the strategy on how to trade.
Yeah.
But I didn't grasp the whole concept, which was the fundamentals, the the technicals I did, but it was more of like the first part of it, like the foundation of it. I never really grasped that. And also on top of that, I never really grasped the whole concept of risk management and those things. Not to even say I didn't grasp it, but I just didn't care about it. Because all I cared about was a strategy, and if the strategy works, it's fine. But little did I know that that will cost me a lot in the long run, because it's important for you to actually understand risk management when it comes to trading.
Yeah.
I would say if there's a secret, they want to know what exactly works. But to put it in very simple terms, I would have to say it's probably just the most important thing when it comes to trading. Regardless of what strategy you use, or regardless of what information you know about trading, at the end of the day, everything just comes down to risk management, which I didn't pay much mind to then in the beginning, but there's because I'll elaborate on that more.
Okay, you got a little bit of the knowledge. You're heading ahead. Tell me, can you share some of the biggest challenges and setbacks you've ever faced and how you overcame?
Yeah, so like I did say, my main focus was just learning about technicals. I didn't give much mind to things like risk management, which turns out it's actually very important. It's very crucial when it comes to trading. I feel like the cornerstone of being a profitable trader is actually knowing and mastering how to manage your risk. And with me, I would say having now a good strategy at the time, which was making me profitable at the time. I thought that's all I needed, and I overlooked everything else. And one big challenge that I did face was, because you need to understand, regardless of what strategy you use, no strategy is 100% guaranteed. If that was the case, then a lot of traders would be rich by now, or a lot of traders would be profitable. I don't know if you know this stat, but they say that 95% of traders are actually unprofitable.
Yeah.
Only the few 5% are profitable when it comes to trading. And my personal belief is that those 5% are people that actually focus more on managing their risk than just focusing on a strategy. So yeah, I had a very good strategy. It was making me good money in the beginning, but all that came crashing down when I feel like there was a time where I needed to use risk management and I didn't incorporate that. And just like any other strategy, there's a time when it's probably a market cycle whereby the strategy just didn't work, and yeah, I ended up losing. I don't even want to say a lot, but let me rather say it was all the money I had at the time. Yeah, it was bad, man.
Biggest loss you ever taken?
It was my first biggest loss and my last one. Yeah.
So how did you overcome it? How did you turn it around?
It did being my first loss, and I would say is a lot of people before me who were doing that. And I mean, the guy who I knew, or the guys that put us onto it, those guys are from SA. You barely talk to them, and back then I was not as acquainted with them as I am now. So when I took that loss, it was quite bad, and because you can talk to someone who can relate to the situation you're in, it makes it better. But at that time, I didn't know anyone who ever was in a similar situation. You know, I didn't know people who trade like that. I knew people who trade, but not on a personal level. So going through that alone, it was hard, man. You know, the thoughts that would go through your head, you were doubting yourself, you stop believing in yourself, you actually start even wondering if this trading thing is real or whatever. But I feel that what kept me going was just that looking back at what you had achieved before, you know? I mean, looking back that you actually made this possible, you actually pulled this off, you actually made this so that to start believing in yourself again. And also I came to a realization that I need to go back to the drawing board, because I would be a fool to try and repeat the same thing and expect that's what they say, a fool is someone that keeps doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So I went back to the drawing board, and I had to start learning the basics, even simple things like the type of candlesticks or different type of candlestick formations. You have to learn those things, and most importantly, I focused on learning a lot about risk management, understanding that it's not really about how much you make, but it's about how much you keep when you. So I think for me, adapting that mentality and also just really focusing on managing risk when it comes to taking my trades.
Okay. For risk management, how do you handle risk management, especially with this volatile market?
Okay, just to clarify, I'm not a financial analyst, but I'm saying it's not financial advice to anyone. It's just me speaking from personal experience. Okay. With risk management, I'd say one key thing with it is how you fund because compounding is where you kind of carry a lot of risk with your capital, because let's say you fund, just hypothetically, you fund 10,000. From that 10,000, you double it, you make it 20,000. That same 20,000, you put it back in and you compound it, you double it, 40,000. But what about then when your strategy doesn't work?
Yeah.
Or what about when just something happens? Because the market, as predictable as it may seem, it can also be very unpredictable at times. Sudden drops or just sudden market crashes or just some tweets, something, tariffs or whatever, and it can just cause the market to go crazy. So these kind of things, when those things happen, your strategy is not really something that's going to help you in times like that. Risk management is what will help you. And now imagine you have all that money, that 20,000 that you had funded, you made 40,000, and you have all that money just sitting in your account with open trade. All that capital is at risk, and it just takes one bad move, and all that money is gone. And when that money is gone, it's gone. There's no thing of now you telling people, no, I once made 40,000 from trading. Yeah, you made it, but what do you have to show for it? Just screenshots.
Did you keep it?
Yeah, you see. So instead of funding like that, it's always best if that 10,000 you funded, you made another 10,000, take your initial capital or withdraw it, and then trade with the profits. Those profits, whatever you make from that, just keep repeating the cycle in that way. You make profit, you take off the initial capital, trade with profit. When you're trading with profit, that's basically risk-free, because you're trading money which you never even had in the first place. But yeah, I would say that's the easiest way, and that's the first thing when it comes to managing risk. I mean, of course, it goes deeper than that, but just for the sake of time, I won't really get in detail with all of that.
Okay. So, what daily habits and routines do you practice to stay sharp as a trader?
Daily habits, the one that I can think of at the top of my head right now is just I monitor the market. I try to see to it that I know where the market is currently at, So even if that means me just having the chart here on my phone or chart there on my laptop, or even sometimes on the watch you can see the chart. I just know where the market is at. I'd say that's the first step.
Okay.
Because even right now, if you ask me about gold, it's like I have that chart in the back of my mind. I know exactly where it is. I know exactly what price it's at. And I do that because for me, the way I trade more of setups. You understand? So with me knowing how the chart is, I can kind of have an idea that, okay, fine, the setup I trade kind of looks like this. And judging by what I'm seeing now, the setup might form. So maybe after an hour or so, or just a little bit later, I'll check in and see where the market is at now, if it formed that setup. But I always just try to keep an image of where the market is at currently, or the price which it's at. And then secondly, I'll also keep up with the news. Because news can tell us quite a lot about economic factors influencing the market. So I'll always, especially if I'm in the office, I'll have Bloomberg playing. Bloomberg mostly talks about current market affairs and current affairs that are affecting the market and things like that. So I'll always have that playing in the background. And I also check my websites like investing.com, Forex Factory. With those websites, they kind of tell me what fundamental events are going to happen soon that might affect the market. So that kind of gives me an idea whether to stay in these trades that I'm in, or if I'm not in trades yet, kind of cautions me not to get into the trades yet. So it's, I always prefer entering into this trade normally after news events, because entering before and the news events happen, sometimes it can be a little bit market during news events. So for me, it's safe just to not be in trades at the time. And yeah, so I think those two are the main things that I do.
Do you like base strategy, or you just wait for your setup to play out?
I just strictly setups. And the thing about setups, they can form anytime. Because there are criteria, obviously, you look at before entering into the market. And once these criteria are met, these criteria can be met now or at 3 a.m. in the morning or whenever. So your job as a trader is just to monitor exactly when these criteria are going to happen.
Okay. Financial advisor. Tell us more on financial literacy, like the assets and liabilities. Nowadays, newbies, they see charts, they see money on internet. How should they go about it?
If you're a newbie and you're fortunate enough to actually profit off of this trading thing, a mistake we all did, myself included, was just getting those withdrawals and running to clubs and wasting the money on alcohol and so on. But I'm not telling these people to stay away from that, because I feel like in doing that is what makes you realize that that's not really what you want to do in your profits. Because no matter how many times you advise them or tell them, they won't listen to you. The best teacher for them in that case would just be them experiencing it on their own. So let them do that, and let them, I should almost use the cuss word.
Nah, no, man.
But they let them mess up the money for themselves and then realize.
Okay.
But just for the sake of it, if I have to give any advice, man, the bottles and the whatever and the women, it's not really what you want to be wasting your profits on. It's best you just always put some money away, because if there's one thing I can tell them is that, especially that run, if you're having a good run, that money is not going to be coming in at that rate forever. The money one day is going to slow down, or it's going to stop coming in at all. Or even worst case scenario, you're going to start losing some of your money. Maybe it's just not a day in the market or whatever the situation may be. And when that happens, you want to make sure that you have some money that you put away, you know? So put that money away, save it for a rainy day, and if they have to do anything with it, it's best they just do stuff that they know can bring in more money. Like anytime your money is leaving your account, it should go into something that you know will bring the money back and probably with some profit, whether it's business or whether you have other investments elsewhere. Because initially also that's what we were told, like with the whole trading thing, even the people that taught us, they didn't say this is something that they see themselves doing as a lifelong thing. This was just a stepping stone to, start your businesses or get capital to do what you initially wanted to do. So yeah, that's probably what I have to tell the guys.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
How will it impact the future traders? How will someone consider studying about cryptocurrency and not only forex trading?
Look, I think crypto is definitely the future, man. If you just look at other businesses in other countries, they're literally accepting payments in crypto. There are even flights now where people can pay in Bitcoin. There's so many things out there that are accommodating cryptocurrency. And yes, cryptocurrency is very volatile. I mean, look at Bitcoin. It was at its highest, I think 126,000. And literally just in a span of a few weeks or maybe this month, it dropped all the way down to about 60,000, more than half of what it was. So it's very volatile, yes, but that, for me, that volatility it's more of a good thing, because now you have a very good opportunity to buy some Bitcoins for yourself. And because even I myself, I have funds in crypto. I don't just keep all my funds in fiat, in cash. I have some in crypto, so in the next few weeks or whenever, next few months, when it goes back up to what it was, of course that wallet where those funds are is going to appreciate in value.
Yeah.
And look, man, with crypto, it's always a thing of people think it's just a bubble that's going to burst anytime soon. But look, since when? Since what, 2009 it's been around? And people have just been, it's the same story. It goes up, and there's this whole hype about crypto. It drops in value, and then people are saying like, yeah, we knew it. Crypto is not here to stay, it's not going to be around for long. And then it goes up, and then there's a hype about it again, and then it drops. But that's just, if people can understand, that's just how market movements are. Market movements is, market always kind of does a bull run, does a retracement, bull run, retracement, bull run, retracement. So that's just, it's just how the market moves. So even now, it being at 60,000, for me, I just see it as a pullback, and it's going to continue doing bull run. So now it's like the best time ever to put some of your money in crypto and just keep it there. Because crypto is here to stay. Government, US government, these are people that are accommodating crypto, they're embracing crypto. A lot of businesses now as well accepting payments in crypto. And crypto is just very convenient now. With the crypto wallets, you can even send money to people with very little charges. You can send crypto to your friend's wallet, and yeah, it's one of those things that they are going to take off. I mean, it already took off, but yeah, it's going to take off more very soon.
How will you differentiate crypto and forex trading to a new person who's coming up? Maybe this side is hearing crypto, this side is hearing forex trading.
In very simple terms, this is quite a very similar thing. But I would say with Forex, it deals more with currency pairs. And with crypto, it's different, man. Like things like Bitcoin, these are kind of coins that are decentralized. It's not like Forex whereby it's centralized to banks, to central banks. Like here, we know the Namibian dollar is it's centralized and regulated by UN. With crypto, it's decentralized. There's no one bank that has legislation over it or whatever. So I would say that is a key difference. But everything else, even the market movements and everything, if you look at the currency pair chart and a crypto chart, it's similar. It's quite similar.
If you could go back to the beginning, how will you come up? What changes will you make that you had done throughout your whole journey?
I don't believe I'll make any changes. I feel like everything happened for a reason. Everything had to happen the way it happened for us to be sitting here today. But if I really did need to do some changes, to be honest with you, I would have never closed my bias on mistake. I would have never closed my bias on cold. I would have never closed my bias on any indishonesty. And I would have told myself to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. I would have maybe even taken out a loan or sold properties and just buy Bitcoin. That's what I would have done differently back then.
Last but not least, what advice would you give to new traders and anyone else who wants to get into forex or cryptocurrency?
If I have to give them any advice, like I said, it's not any financial advice or anything like that. It's just me speaking from my own personal experience. And firstly, when they get into this, it shouldn't be a thing of them thinking it's a get rich quick scheme. Because a lot of them think that that's what trading is. And a lot of people also have a misconception that trading is you give $1,000 to someone and they make $50,000 for you in the same day. I've seen advertisements like that, and that is just ridiculous. It's not true. That's not trading. There's no way you're giving someone $1,000 and they're promising you to give you $50,000 in the same day payout. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. That's just that's the oldest trick in the book, just to get money out of your pocket. Honestly, that's not trading, and people have that misconception that is what trading actually is that you are in control of your own money. You dictate what you do with it, where you put it, what you trade, and all of that is done by you and your interaction with the broker. There's no need to be a third party or those guys claiming those things. You, firstly, the first advice I'll give is just for people to get that misconception out of their head that is what trading is, a get rich quick scheme or a thing where you give money and you get so much money back in return. You don't give money to anyone. You are in control of your own money by funding your money into a brokerage. A brokerage which you have done research on, which is regulated. Most importantly, it's regulated. And secondly, a broker which I would advise people, if possible, let them rather work with brokers that are local brokers. Like let's say in this case, like here in Namibia, we have a local broker which is Old Market. They have offices here in Namibia. So that way, it will be better for you to. I think with a broker having a physical office locally, it just brings more trust. It becomes more trustworthy. It's more credible. And if anything happens, you can always, come to the office, knock on the door. Hey guys, where's my withdrawal? Where's my money? Those kind of stuff. But not to say that happens. It's just an example.
Yeah.
So yeah. Firstly, it's not a get rich quick scheme. Secondly, you are in control, so choose a broker wisely. For instance, like a local broker, make sure it's regulated. Like I believe Old Market is regulated by FSCA. It's a regulatory board in South Africa. And also, just to add on to my second point, a lot of your success in trading depends on what broker you use. So it's always advisable to trade with the broker which you consider is the best. And in my honest opinion, I use Old Market to trade mostly gold, Nasdaq. They also have very good spreads and I don't want to say very good slippage, but they don't have slippage. I mean, I'll put it that way. On things like indices like Nasdaq and so, So yeah, I use them mostly to trade those pairs. And then maybe with synthetics, I'll probably use a broker like the REIT to trade synthetics. So, and my last point is just, if anyone chooses to embark on this journey of, becoming a profitable trader, it's very important that what they should seek first is knowledge. Try to educate themselves on how to do it. Like I told you in the beginning of the podcast, it was very challenging for us to get educated on this and get someone to explain to us how it works, because the people were scarce and the people that were there, they were very expensive. But today, man, knowledge about this is very easily accessible. It's all, you can say nearly free. You just need to look in the right places. Even brokers themselves, you can go to your brokerage. They have free beginner tutorials on how to even just set up the MT4, how to find your account. Very simple introductory stuff. You can even get them at brokerages. But yeah, the information is very easy to get these days, so I advise people to get educated about it first. Because I mean, at the end of the day, the money you're putting in it's your hard-earned money. It's not just money you got from Mahala or wherever. It's hard-earned money, and you need to treat it that way. And how you treat it that way is by actually knowing what you're doing and not just half-guessing things and basically gambling, which is what most people do because they don't know what they're doing. So yeah, I would say people really just need to get educated on this. And with education, you eradicate two things. The first thing is the whole misconception about it. Because I mean, look man, it's evident and we all know people think maybe trading is a scam or whatever, but it's just because of them not being educated, them not doing things, the right procedures. Someone can think Forex is give 1,000, get 50,000 same day, but that's not what Forex is. And they did that because they were misinformed, they were not educated on it. So the one thing you put aside with getting educated is that misconception. And the second thing is when you get educated, you actually learn how to do it the right way, and you don't have a bad experience with it, which is losing funds and so on. And so yeah, with getting educated, you kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah. How long are you trading?
I haven't really kept count, but I think maybe I started around 2018. Yeah, 2026 now, so that's maybe I think maybe it's like 8 years. Yeah, so it's been a while that I've been trading. But I wouldn't say most of that I was trading. I'd say partially I was actually more of learning how to trade. So most of those years, especially in the beginning, I was more or less learning. I was more or less one of the guys who just deposited and never made any withdrawals. I was also there before. I was just constantly losing money there at that time. So if we had to say when exactly I started trading, it was probably like 2020 or so. That's when I actually was trading in
That's when you saw like, okay, now it's starting to kick.
That's when I started seeing progress. So I would say I've been trading maybe 6 years, 5 years.
You have like mentorship, account management, so how can people reach you if you offer anything?
And I don't really provide services, especially account management. I don't do crowdfunding. crowdfunding.
Yeah.
So these guys take funds from people and apparently put it in one account and trade it and they spend. I don't do any kind of services like that. Even signals, I don't. Mentorship, not really. I have a Telegram group where I just share free setups, free trading ideas. Yeah, so if anything, that's the only service that, but I wouldn't even call it mentoring, this service because it's free. It's just a group where it's like a trading group and I share like trading ideas and so on. It's open to the public. You know, maybe you can attach a link somewhere.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but apart from that, I don't really run the services. Yeah.
Nonetheless, that was all, man.
No, thank you very much.
Definitely be a part two of this.
Thank you for that.
And
Let's see the feedback. If there's anything that needs clarification, I don't mind coming back on the show.
sure. Nonetheless, it's your boy, Main One Man, Daniel Nakala himself. See you on another episode for the Castles.